Welcome back, heroes, to some more Custom NPC scripting. So, last episode we went over how to create an objects and how you can attach functions to them. As I established before, you got the function, you got the object, and then you can set it. Now, we want to be able to utilize this in any instance that we have a Frieza. And also we want to use it to actually do the transformations. Now, it's important for like making sure that you keep clean code to do it this way. There might be a better way to do it, but this is, as far as I figured to this point, an efficient way to do this. Now, in order to do the actual transformation, let's go ahead and figure how we want to do this. Now, the way I want to actually make this transform work is as you're damaging the Frieza, he will transform and keep the current damage that he has carried over to the next Frieza. So that way it still feels like the same NPC, but his overall hit points will get bigger. So your progress won't be diminished, but yeah, it's essentially just your progress won't be diminished as you fight him. However, if you were to overkill the Frieza that you're fighting, I want him to jump 2 stages, because that way it's more of like, oh crap, this guy is really strong, I should probably get a lot stronger. So that's one of the advantages I have with this scripting, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you how I'm gonna do this. So the big differences here what we're gonna use is killed and damaged. Killed is basically, if it essentially what happened was like overkill, then they'll likely die in 1 hit. And so we're going to treat that as the overkill. Now, we can do multiple ways to do this, but this is the way that I'm going to do it. And then if he's just being punched and he actually reaches the threshold, then we'll use damaged here. So first off, we need to determine how much damage he's actually taken. Now, we can't just necessarily take the health, add, the value, but what we need to do is we need to take his max health and subtract it from his current health. So we'll go damage, we'll just do damage. So damage is going to be npc.get max health, and then we subtract npc.get health. All right, so what we have here now is how much damage he currently has. So there's 2 things that we want here. So we want this to trigger only when he is not overkilled. So, and also we only want this to trigger if he has taken a certain amount of damage that we figure is going to be good for transform. So what we're going to do here is if damage is, let's say greater than 2000, and npc.get health is greater, do we want greater? I think, yeah, greater than 0. So what will happen here is that this if statement will only trigger is if he's taking greater than 2000 damage and his current health is not 0. So he's not overkilled, but he's in that zone which we want the transformation to occur. So here we're going to do the actual transformation. So what we want first is we want the Frieza object. What did we call it? It was FZA. Yeah, FZA. So FZA equals world.getTempData. If I could spell correctly. All right, so there we go. So what we have now is the Frieza object, which we are keeping track of. And now we do Frieza.trans, which I believe is the transform method. We need to pass it an NPC, the transform state we want, the damage he's going to take, and also the reset. So what we're going to do with that, we're going to do NPC. We're going to do the trans state we want him to go to next, which what I'm going to do for each of these saves is I'm just going to call it tran, like tran 1, tran 2, tran 3, trans 4, just to make it simple. You can call it whatever. It's whatever your clone is going to be called. And then we need the damage that's being transferred, which we actually have right here. So that's how much damage he's currently taken, and then we also need to determine whether or not we want to reset him. Which, since this is the, what was it, false? Yeah, so we don't want them to reset because we have determined that this is the first guy going into the second guy. All right, so damage, false, and there we go. Now we just go fza dot set temp data fza. Because remember, within the Frieza object, we're actually setting the damage and the reset value. So we need to save it, which is why we need to set it there. And that's pretty much all you need for a transformation to actually occur. Let's see, just trying to make sure I didn't forget anything. Oh yeah, because this is on the damage, we probably need to get rid of the NPC, so npc.kill. So what we got here is when we got that sweet damage zone, and we determine he's not overkilled, we get the Frieza object, we tell him to transform, we save it, and then we kill the NPC. So let's go ahead and see what happens there. First off, we need to go Tran 1, and we're gonna go ahead and save it over my current one, and then we'll have Tran 2 here. And save. All right, so since we got that there, let's go ahead and test it out over here. So we got Tran 1 spawn. All right, come here, Frieza. I'm gonna beat you up. Well, it looks like we have something not quite ready here. So let's see what we got. Oh, I think I have I know why. His script is not enabled. All right, here we go. There it happened. So, as Frieza took him out, he didn't die though. Why didn't you die? Okay, so I figured out the problem here. I called fza.setTempData when I was supposed to do world.setTempData. Whatever. Here it is. World.setTempData. My bad. I make mistakes, it happens. All right, so now we could go save Tran 1. And this should work at this point because I got the script fixed. So let's see. Are you gonna transform? He did not. Enable the script first. And here we go. Are you gonna transform? He transforms. And you can see the initial NPC died, and then we got a second state. So now we can fight a second state to our heart's content. So that's the initial idea of how to do this. Now, we also want to tie in his overkill. So the overkill is going to be pretty much similar, but we're going to have a different check here. So when he is killed, if npc.getHealth is less than or equal to 0, I don't know if their hit points could ever be less than 0, but what we want here is if he is killed and his hit points are currently 0, then we want this to trigger, because in this state, when he's damaged, we will do .killed, which will fire off this event, but we don't want this to fire off what we have here if damage is firing it off. So what we have here is if his health is 0, then we know we got to this point because we overkilled him. So we're gonna do pretty much a similar thing as before. All right, so I have all that set up. So we're sending it the NPC, and this time we're gonna actually send it to the state 3 as we declared before. Let's see, I believe his damage, in this instance, what I wanted to do is I want him to actually have more health, because the idea is that he did it reflexively. The damage we're gonna set him to is gonna be this, which is his health divided by half. So essentially, if you overkilled him, we are going to set the current damage to only half of his current state, which his current state, I believe, would be 1,000 or 10,000. Yeah, so essentially, we'll set his damage to only 5,000 as opposed to 10,000. So that way we give the next state a little more leeway from the overkill. It makes the fight a little bit harder, which is the whole point of this. So we got that. Also, we need to do the set this to false, because we don't want him to reset after this point. And there you go. That's all you need. As you can see, it's very similar, but we're setting it to transform state 3 as opposed to transform state 2. Now, the last thing I kind of want to add before we move on to setting the next dude is I want to make it so that the NPC could actually say something. So let's go pnpc.say, and we'll do message. Okay, so now we're changing the function to add one more thing, which is going to be a message. So we'll tag on to the end some message, so that way every time he does a transform, he'll say something because, you know, that makes it a little more interesting. So let's see, what can we have him say? Let's see, normal one. I don't show this form to everyone, because why not? And in the other one, he's kind of insulted, so, because, I mean, you just overpowered him and he didn't realize it, so how dare you witness true terror? I kind of got these lines before when I was testing it, so there we go. So now what we have is when he does his transform, he'll actually say something. All right, so now it's time to test it. Save as trans 1, save his other state, spawn him in, and now we kill him. I don't show this form to everyone. Okay, so that's his stage 2. Now let's try the overkill. All right, so for the overkill, I just gotta be able to get like enough damage out, and I believe I could get there from my overcharge. So let's just charge this up. And fire! Well, there's something I need to fix. Okay, so I think I get what's going on here. So what happened was when I actually killed him before, you see in this chat log, I added like his hit points. When I killed him before, he actually had hit points. This is a problem that's related to the fact that the custom NPC damage is when the actual damage event happens, the damage that they actually take is your normal NPC, like your normal Minecraft damage, and then the DBC damage is calculated after. So I think the problem that I have with my current script is that if I kill them, like if I damage them too much and then overkill them, that it doesn't happen. But the way I see it is that's an issue for another time. What I have here is a way that for it to actually trigger. So yeah, that's another issue. We're gonna go ahead and continue with it. So the idea here then is more of if they one-shot them or near one-shot them from like their full hit points, then this will trigger, otherwise this will trigger. So in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and start attaching the actual transformation state to each of these to actually continue it on. So for that, it's pretty much the same as before. For the damage event, so I'm gonna just go ahead and copy the other one. Right, so when he's damaged, we just need to change up some of the variables to actually reflect the fact that he's going from the second stage to the third stage. So on this one, we're gonna have it when he takes more than 10,000 damage, which is greater than even his first form. So when he takes more than 10,000 damage and the health that happens, then we go into the next one, but instead we go to transformation 3. And we will make him say, "Ha! You thought this was my final form? Oh, sorry. You thought this was my final form? Ha!" As a way of representing that. So as you can see, we use pretty much the exact same script as going from stage 1 to stage 2. Oh, there is one other thing that we need to change. So we could just send false as going in from stage 2 to stage 3. The problem is, if in the event that we summon the next dude, actually, let's say that the first dude summons and we kill this dude at the same time, there is the slim possibility that we're gonna basically have both of them at the same time. We don't want that, so we're gonna just send him the reset F that he's currently set to. So if for some reason it gets set to true before the update happens, and then he summons the next dude, we're not going to set it to false, we're just gonna keep it as true, so that way the next dude knows that he needs to die, as opposed to stick around. So that's going to be the main difference here for my current way of setting the transformation. As I mentioned before, you might have an entirely different way of keeping track of the transformation. This is just so that I can keep the initial idea of when this guy summons, he will desummon the rest of them. Also, going to transfer over the killed state, because like I said before, it's pretty much the same one, but in this instance, he's going to jump to his final form, because he's already in his second form, and for some reason, he has now been overkilled, which is not what he wants at all. So, let's see, let's make him say, "Impressive, I suppose I won't hold back any longer." And there we go. So now we have the same thing that's happening. I also want him to have it at set half of this dude's damage, which I believe is also 10,000, no, half his damage would be 5,000. So if you overshoot him, you're actually like at a detriment. It's pretty much what I'm going with the balance here. But yeah, he's now set for his transform state, so he'll actually go into stage 2. So let's go, or stage 2 to stage 3. So let's make sure that stage 3 goes to stage 4. So pretty much for that, I'm just gonna do the exact same thing. I'll show you what the script is afterwards. So in stage 3 here, because he only has one other stage to go to, there's not really much difference here because we're gonna set him to stage 4. I'm gonna say impressive, suppose I won't hold back any longer. Similar to his stage 2. So overkilling him's not gonna do anything extra. Of course, that is pretty much just all preference. You could change it to however you want. That's the whole point of this, is that you make it do whatever you want, you know? Okay, so we do this. So if he goes from stage 3 to stage 4 normally, consider yourself lucky. I will destroy you with my final form. Okay, so there we go. We got the reset F, and there we go. So now he is currently set up to do his full transformation. We'll go ahead and test that at the end because we need one more thing to add on to this. Now, I have this little dude here to control the reset F just to make it convenient. So right now I've set it to false just to give you a quick perusal of what he's doing here. I interact with him, grabs the Frieza object, sets the reset F to the opposite of what it was, and then saves it and then says what it is. So that way I can go, it's true, it's false, it's true, it's false. I want it set to false so that way they don't end up disappearing before I want them to. Now, here's the final aspect of what we're going to do here. So what we need to do is determine whether or not they need to disappear. So we go if, so big if world.getTempData FZA. So we now have the Frieza object. Then we can say dot reset F. So this is a Boolean. So if this is true, this is going to return true. If this is false, then it's going to skip it. So then we put whatever we want to have happen here. So now we determine, hey, this is true. Kill this NPC because he needs to die. We just do NPC.kill. And as simple as that. So now we have the way of clearing them all up when we don't want them there. We don't need to enable the script, but pretty much it's the same code here. I'm going to replicate it across all 3 NPCs. Now, stage 4 doesn't really need anything, save for what is going to be the last thing, because he's not going to transform, so he doesn't need anything. What we need now is, as I've just established before, I'm actually keeping track of the damage that each character is taking. So we need to actually grab that to actually set it. So let's go ahead and do that here. So to do that, first we need to grab the Frieza object, world.getTempData Frieza. All right, so we grab the Frieza object, and then we go Frieza, we go NPC.set health, LTH. Okay, so we know how much damage he's going to be taken upon setting up, so we're gonna set his health to whatever his set, let's see, it's get max health, I believe, minus FZA dot damage. So upon spawning, he's going to essentially take however much damage that he's already taken or that we've established that he's gonna take. So we copy that and we give it to each one of them. Bam, bam, bam. All right. So I believe that's most everything that we need at this point. So what we're going to do is we're going to set him to true. Good. That's currently set to false, so he won't disappear. I think there's not anything else. Yeah, he's got the damage. He's got that. Okay, so we'll save you as trans 2. Sorry, tran 2. Make sure you're enabled. Tran 3. Make sure you're enabled. Tran 4. All right, so we got all 3 stages. Let's see. He is currently enabled as well. And on top of that, because I've already saved all the other NPCs and their delete is saved, as you can see, they all disappeared. Important thing to note, the reason why they do disappear is because I set their respawn, which by the way, this is kind of important. I set the respawn to no. So if I go over to here, toggle you, he's now false, and I summon trans 2, bam, I could show you his respawn is currently set to no. The reason why that is important is because I don't want his body just standing around during the whole transformation process. So since his respawn is no, once he dies, he disappears. It's kind of very important when dealing with clones. If you're going to be spawning them, ensure that you don't leave a mess. You don't want to, like, every time he transforms, have 4 Friezas there, because then when this guy respawns, the others will probably respawn at some point as well. Not a good idea. All right, so now if I toggle you, the other one will disappear. All right, so your code is set, so let's go ahead and save you as Trans1. Tran1. I keep forgetting, I don't call him Trans. All right, so you guys don't need to be around anymore. There we go. So let's go ahead and spawn this Frieza and see if everything works. All right, so we're just gonna beat him up first. He transforms. I'll show this to everyone. Oh yeah, I forgot that I kept the number in there. I'll remove that eventually. And he's set to transformation 2. He had 8,000 damage, or 8,000, I guess that was hit points or whatever. No, I think that was damage. Oh, it looks like we have a problem. So currently the 3rd form is now messed up. All right, so let's go ahead and get rid of him. Now, see, this is also why I kind of want to show this, because since I have this guy, I could set this to true or false or whatever, but it also means that I could summon all these guys back in, and I could fix them. This is also the reason why I like this way of transformation, just because you have more control over each individual form, so if anything ever goes wrong, you could just fix it. All right, so he is, yeah, there's the problem right there. He's summoning in his stage 3, which is basically resummons him, which is a bit of a problem. All right, so we saved him as that, and then we can save him as Tran3. There we go. I don't think we don't really need to change him because we had to just change the 3rd stage. All right, there we go. So now let's summon in the first one again and start beating him up. Second one spawns. Third one, third one, then 4th one spawn. Okay, so let me just go ahead and finish tweaking this. So most of what was going on here is that I wasn't setting the 3rd stage hit points. So as such, it kind of messed everything up. So what we're gonna do here is when it's greater than 25,000 damage, then we'll go ahead and do the transformation. Killed, it doesn't matter. So that should prevent it from instantly transforming. All right, Tran3, bam, bam. See, it makes it so much easier to actually debug things, to actually have them as clones, because I could spawn whichever and then test their current state. If I wanted to, I could spawn in the 3rd state, but kind of need to kill the first one with how I have this set up. All right, bam, got the 3rd state, and then we beat him up. Oh, he snapped back because he's currently set to neutral and he's not really fighting me. Bam, now he's at his final form. And then you can just beat him up, beat him up, beat him up. Okay, so that's pretty much all there is to it. Also, the reason why I have it set up this way is, let's see, so I can say reset, and then we have the dude here. So if I beat him up, we got the 2nd stage. Now he sits there for a while, and bam, reset, and now we just have the 1st stage. So there you go. That is a way to do transformations. What you could do is each individual stage, you could set whatever stats you want. You could set their hit point levels. You could give them individual abilities. You could do whatever you want with it. And it makes it so that you could transition from one to the other. And with the way I showed you, you have a way of making it so you could reset it. And you have a way of tracking the damage that they have taken between each one. Now, the biggest thing I hope you guys take away from this is the use of objects. So this Frieza object I've been sharing between each one, and I also have the transformation method, which makes it so much easier between each actual stage than actually rewriting the entire method every time. Just because, like, I have the 2nd stage and all I have to do is call the method. Bam, method done. All of what I want to do is done. And I can even add more transformation methods to do different things. So instead of thunder strikes, I could just make it like, I don't know, do a bunch of like explosions instead. Or I can make it do like a particle effect. Or even better, you could actually do a thing like, let's say I'm fighting Trunks. And then I beat him up, and then his transformation state is actually Gotenks. And then once I beat Gotenks, his next state, instead of actually summoning one dude, it summons two dudes, Goten and Trunks, because you beat him up and you actually like knocked him out of the transform. So there's a lot you could do with this, a lot. And I hope that you guys like take from this and be able to expand upon your own NPCs to figure out new things and new heights to stretch to. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. I'll be sure to address them there. And also, if you have any concerns or ideas or whatever, let's address it in the comment section below. But anyways, guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Take care and goodbye.